It was a moment no one in Emily's class or the world could have predicted. The scene unfolded during the live broadcast of the prestigious Global Genius Awards, an annual event recognizing the most brilliant young minds across the globe. Millions of viewers tuned in, expecting to witness history in the making. But for one middle school class, the event held an even more personal significance. As the host announced the winner, Emily, a quiet and introverted girl who had spent years fading into the background, stepped onto the stage. Dressed in a simple but elegant outfit, she radiated confidence as she accepted her award, a medal that symbolized her groundbreaking achievements in science. The world celebrated Emily's brilliance, but back in her classroom, one person sat frozen in his chair. Jake, the self-proclaimed class clown who had spent years humiliating her. His confident smirk faded as he watched the broadcast, the weight of his actions hitting him like a tidal wave. Jake had always underestimated Emily. To him, she was an easy target, someone who wouldn't fight back when teased. But now, as her name echoed through the halls of his school, he felt an unfamiliar pang of regret. For the first time, he realized the extent of his cruelty and the brilliance he had ignored. Emily's victory wasn't just a win for her, it was a wake-up call for everyone who had dismissed her, a reminder of the untapped potential in the quietest corners of the room. Emily had always been the quiet one. She sat at the back of the classroom, her desk neatly organized, her eyes often cast downward as if she were afraid of drawing attention. While her classmates chatted loudly or vied for the teacher's approval, Emily seemed content to stay unnoticed. But beneath her quiet exterior lay a mind that was anything but ordinary. From a young age, Emily had been fascinated by the world around her. She spent hours poring over books about astronomy, biology, and robotics, her curiosity driving her to explore concepts far beyond her grade level. While other kids played video games or hung out at the mall, Emily was often in her room, conducting experiments or coding programs on her laptop. Her brilliance was undeniable, but her reserved nature meant few people noticed. Even her teachers, who recognized her potential, often hesitated to praise her too openly, afraid of making her uncomfortable. Emily didn't mind. She wasn't driven by recognition. Her love for learning was reward enough. What set Emily apart wasn't just her intelligence, but her resilience. Despite being overlooked by her peers and occasionally mocked for being different, she never let it deter her. She focused on her work, driven by an unshakable belief that her passion for science could make a difference. If Emily was the quiet observer in the classroom, Jake was the polar opposite. Loud, overconfident, and always seeking attention, Jake had built his reputation as the class clown. Whether it was cracking jokes during lessons or pulling pranks on unsuspecting classmates, Jake thrived on being the center of attention. But Jake's humor often came at the expense of others, and Emily was one of his favorite targets. To him, her quiet demeanor and unique interests made her an easy mark. "What's up, science nerd?" he would say, smirking as he walked past her desk. Jake's teasing wasn't limited to words. He would mimic her in exaggerated whispers when she asked questions in class, or snatch her notebook to scribble jokes on the margins. His friends laughed along, egging him on, while Emily remained silent, her cheeks flushing with embarrassment. For Jake, it was all harmless fun. He never considered how his actions affected Emily, or how much strength it took for her to endure it. While her classmates gossiped about celebrities and social media trends, Emily was quietly building a future that would outshine them all. Her room, cluttered with science kits, books, and half-finished projects, was her sanctuary. Emily's passion for innovation knew no bounds. She designed prototypes for renewable energy systems, entered coding competitions, and even created a model for a device that could purify water more efficiently. Her evenings were spent tinkering away, her mind alive with possibilities. Her teachers occasionally caught glimpses of her brilliance. One science fair project, a solar-powered water filtration system, left the judges speechless. Though she won first prize, Emily's classmates barely acknowledged her achievement. To them, she was still just the quiet girl. What no one knew was that Emily had entered an international competition, the Global Genius Awards, months earlier. The competition required participants to submit innovative solutions to global challenges. Emily had poured her heart and soul into her entry, staying up late to perfect every detail. She didn't tell anyone about the competition, not her classmates, not even her teachers. It wasn't out of fear, it was simply her way of letting her work speak for itself. The day of the Global Genius Award announcement started like any other. Emily arrived at school early, slipping into her seat without drawing attention. Jake, already surrounded by his friends, cracked jokes as usual, his voice dominating the room. But something was different that day. The teacher, Miss Taylor, entered the classroom with an unusual energy. Her face lit up with excitement. "Class, before we begin, I have some incredible news," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "One of our very own students is a finalist for the Global Genius Awards." The room fell silent. Jake raised an eyebrow, leaning back in his chair. "Wait, someone from this class? You're kidding, right?" Ms. Taylor ignored his comment and continued. "Emily, would you like to share more about your project?" All eyes turned to Emily, who hesitated before standing up. Her voice was soft but steady as she explained her work, a groundbreaking device designed to combat water scarcity in developing regions. Jake snickered from the back. "Global awards? Seriously? Good luck with that, Einstein." His friends laughed, but Emily didn't flinch. She simply returned to her seat, her expression calm and resolute. By lunchtime, the classroom buzzed with curiosity. The award ceremony was scheduled to be broadcast live, and the teacher had arranged for the class to watch it during the final period. When the time came, the class gathered around the projector, the atmosphere thick with anticipation. Jake leaned against the back wall, arms crossed, clearly unimpressed. As the ceremony began, the host introduced the finalists, each accompanied by a short video of their work. When Emily's name appeared on the screen, the room erupted into murmurs. Jake's expression shifted slightly, his confidence wavering as he watched the clips of Emily presenting her invention. Then the moment came. The host opened the envelope, pausing for dramatic effect before announcing the winner. And the winner of the Global Genius Award is Emily Parker. The classroom erupted in stunned silence. Emily, sitting quietly in her usual seat, was suddenly the center of attention. Her classmates stared at her in disbelief, their eyes wide. Jake's jaw dropped, his confident smirk replaced by a look of utter shock. As Emily's image appeared on the screen, accepting her medal with poise and grace, Jake felt the weight of his actions crashing down on him. He had spent years dismissing her, mocking her, and underestimating her. And now, the girl he had ridiculed was standing on a global stage, proving him wrong in the most spectacular way possible. The Global Genius Award ceremony was more than just a celebration of young talent. It was a worldwide event, watched by millions of viewers across the globe. From scientists to everyday people, everyone tuned in to see which brilliant young mind would be honored that year. For Emily's classmates, however, this wasn't just a televised moment. It was a deeply personal revelation. The atmosphere in the classroom was electric as the live broadcast began. The teacher, Ms. Taylor, had rolled in a projector so everyone could watch the event unfold. She had been beaming with pride ever since Emily was announced as a finalist. But most of the class, including Jake, was still wrapping their heads around the idea that the quietest girl in the room had made it to such a prestigious competition. The ceremony kicked off with short video profiles of the finalists. Each clip highlighted the groundbreaking projects that had earned them their place in the competition. When Emily's name appeared on the screen, a hush fell over the room. The video showed her presenting her invention, a solar-powered water filtration system, explaining its potential to save lives in areas suffering from water scarcity. Jake, leaning back in his chair with his usual nonchalance, couldn't help but scoff under his breath. "A water filter? That's what all this fuss is about?" he muttered. But his smirk faltered as the video continued. The clip showcased Emily's relentless dedication. Late nights in her makeshift lab, detailed blueprints on her walls, and interviews with scientists who praised her innovation. The narrator mentioned how her invention had already been piloted in a small village, providing clean water to hundreds of people. Jake sat up slightly in his chair, his confidence beginning to waver. For the first time, he realized this wasn't just another class project. Emily had accomplished something extraordinary. Then came the big moment. The host walked to the center of the stage, holding the envelope that contained the winner's name. The classroom fell silent, the tension almost palpable. And the winner of the Global Genius Award is, the host announced, pausing dramatically, Emily Parker. The classroom erupted, not into cheers, but into stunned silence. All eyes turned toward Emily, who sat at her desk, her face a mixture of surprise and quiet pride. The screen showed her walking up to the stage to accept her award, the medal glinting under the bright lights as the audience gave her a standing ovation. Jake, sitting at the back of the room, felt like the air had been knocked out of him. His usual bravado was nowhere to be seen. Instead, he was frozen, his jaw slack, as he watched the girl he had spent years ridiculing bask in the glow of global recognition. As the broadcast continued, Jake's mind began racing. The memories of all the times he had teased Emily flooded back in vivid detail. He remembered the snide remarks, the jokes he had made at her expense, and the times he had called her weird or boring just to get a laugh from his friends. Now, as he watched Emily give her acceptance speech, every word she spoke felt like a mirror reflecting his own shortcomings. She thanked her family, her teachers, and everyone who had believed in her. She even thanked her classmates, though Jake knew deep down that he hadn't earned her gratitude. The classroom was buzzing with whispers. Jake overheard some of his peers quietly criticizing him. "Didn't Jake make fun of her all the time?" one student muttered. "I can't believe he treated her like that." The realization hit Jake like a ton of bricks. He had underestimated Emily, not just as a classmate, but as a person. And now everyone could see the stark contrast between her brilliance and his immaturity. For the first time, Jake felt genuinely ashamed. He glanced over at Emily, who was still sitting quietly at her desk, her hands folded neatly as if she hadn't just made history. She wasn't gloating or seeking revenge, she was simply being herself, the same humble and focused girl she had always been. The television screen in the classroom displayed Emily standing confidently at the podium, the Global Genius Award medal gleaming around her neck. She looked out at the audience with a calm, steady gaze, her voice unwavering as she began her speech. "First, I want to thank the Global Genius Foundation for this incredible honor," she began. "And to all the other finalists, your work inspires me every day." Emily's speech was simple but deeply moving. She spoke about her passion for creating solutions to real-world problems, her belief in the power of innovation, and her hope that young people everywhere would be encouraged to pursue their dreams. But it was her next words that struck a chord with everyone watching. "I also want to thank the people who doubted me," Emily said, her voice soft but firm, "because they taught me the value of believing in myself when no one else would." The classroom was silent as her words sank in. Jake felt a lump rise in his throat. He knew those words were directed at people like him, the ones who had laughed at her, underestimated her, and tried to dim her light. Emily's speech wasn't bitter or vengeful. It was a testament to her strength and grace, a reminder that resilience and kindness can triumph over negativity. She ended with a message that resonated deeply. "To anyone who feels like they don't belong or like their voice doesn't matter, remember the world needs your unique perspective. Never stop believing in your potential." The audience on screen erupted into applause, and even in the classroom, some students clapped quietly. Emily sat back in her seat, her expression serene. For Jake, the moment was humbling. The next day, Jake found himself pacing nervously near the school's lockers. He had spent the entire night replaying the events of the previous day in his mind. The weight of his actions felt heavier than ever, and he knew he couldn't ignore it any longer. For years, Jake had been the loudest voice in the room, but now he struggled to find the words. How do you apologize to someone you have hurt so deeply? How do you undo years of ridicule with a single conversation? When Emily arrived, Jake hesitated. She walked toward her locker, her head down as usual, her calm demeanor unchanged despite her newfound fame. Jake took a deep breath and approached her. "Hey, Emily," he said, his voice uncharacteristically soft. She looked up, her expression neutral. "Hi, Jake." He fidgeted with the strap of his backpack, his usual confidence nowhere to be found. I just wanted to say I'm sorry for everything, the jokes, the teasing, and all of it. I was a jerk, and you didn't deserve that." Emily studied him for a moment, her eyes searching his face. Then she nodded. "Thank you, Jake," she said simply. Her response wasn't warm, but it wasn't cold either. It was firm, a quiet acknowledgement that his apology mattered, but didn't erase the past. Jake felt a mixture of relief and regret. He had taken the first step, but he knew it would take time to truly make amends. Emily's success didn't just change Jake, it changed the entire class. Her achievement became a source of pride for the school, inspiring students to rethink how they treated one another. Classmates who had once ignored Emily began to approach her with questions about her work, eager to learn from her. The teacher started emphasizing the importance of recognizing everyone's unique strengths, encouraging collaboration and mutual respect. For Jake, the transformation was personal. He began participating in class discussions, not to make jokes, but to contribute meaningfully. He even joined the school's STEM club, inspired by Emily's passion for innovation. The story of Emily's remarkable win and Jake's journey of regret and redemption didn't remain confined within the walls of their small school. Thanks to the power of social media, the story spread far beyond their town, becoming a global phenomenon. It all began when a local news station aired a segment about Emily's victory at the Global Genius Awards. The footage included her heartfelt acceptance speech, where she gracefully acknowledged those who doubted her and encouraged others to believe in themselves. The clip resonated deeply, touching hearts around the world. Within days, the video was shared across platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Users were captivated by the juxtaposition of Emily's quiet perseverance and Jake's visible transformation, from bully to remorseful classmate. Hashtags like #QuietGenius and #Believe Yourself began trending as people from all walks of life connected with the story's powerful message. Comment sections overflowed with praise for Emily's resilience. "This girl is a real-life superhero. Her strength and kindness are inspiring," one user wrote. Others highlighted the broader implications of the story. "It's a reminder that we should never judge someone by how quiet they are. The loudest person in the room isn't always the most talented," another commented. Jake's journey also became a focal point of the narrative. While some criticized his past behavior, many applauded his willingness to recognize his mistakes and seek forgiveness. His story became a testament to the idea that growth is possible, even for those who have been unkind. In an unexpected turn, Jake himself took to social media, posting a heartfelt message about his experience. "I messed up, big time. I spent years putting someone down, only to realize how incredible they are. I'm working every day to be better, and I'm grateful for Emily's forgiveness," he wrote. His post received thousands of likes and supportive comments, with people acknowledging his accountability and expressing hope that others would learn from his example. Emily's newfound fame brought with it opportunities that she had never imagined. Interviews with national news outlets, invitations to speak at conferences, and even scholarship offers flooded in. But despite the attention, Emily remained humble, always redirecting the conversation back to her mission of making a positive impact through innovation. Schools around the world began sharing Emily's story in their classrooms, using it as a teaching tool for discussions on kindness, empathy, and the importance of embracing differences. Teachers encouraged students to reflect on their own actions and consider how they could uplift rather than diminish those around them. Even celebrities and public figures took notice. A well-known actress tweeted, "Emily's story reminds us that every quiet kid has a roar inside them. Let's uplift, not tear down." The post received over 1 million likes, further amplifying the story's reach. Philanthropists and business leaders also weighed in, emphasizing how Emily's journey highlighted the importance of diversity and thought in innovation. Some even reached out to offer mentorship programs, aiming to nurture young talents like Emily, who might otherwise go unnoticed. Local communities rallied around Emily as well. The town held a parade in her honor, celebrating her achievements and showcasing the impact of her work. The mayor presented her with a key to the city, declaring a day in her name to encourage young people to pursue their passions without fear of judgment. As for Jake, his transformation continued beyond social media. He joined anti-bullying campaigns, sharing his story with younger students to help them understand the consequences of their actions. His vulnerability in sharing his past mistakes resonated with many, and he became a powerful advocate for change in his school and community. I used to think that making people laugh was all that mattered, Jake confessed in a video posted online. But now I know that lifting people up is far more important. The ripple effect of Emily and Jake's story was undeniable. Schools reported a noticeable shift in student behavior, with increased acts of kindness and a greater emphasis on supporting one another. Parents wrote letters to the school, expressing their gratitude for the lessons their children had learned through Emily's example, but perhaps the most profound impact was on those who had felt marginalized or underestimated. Emily's story became a beacon of hope for quiet, introverted, and unconventional students everywhere. They saw themselves in her, finding validation in her journey and inspiration in her success. Thank you, Emily, for showing me that it's okay to be quiet and that my voice matters too. One young girl wrote in a letter that was later shared online, drawing thousands of supportive responses. Emily's story even sparked discussions about educational practices, encouraging schools to identify and nurture the unique talents of every student, not just those who are outspoken or traditionally gifted. The lasting takeaway from Emily's story was clear. We should never underestimate someone's potential or judge them by their quiet nature. Everyone has a story, a talent, and a gift that can change the world. And sometimes the ones we overlook are the ones with the most to offer. The story of Emily and Jake serves as a powerful reminder that kindness, humility, and open-mindedness can transform lives. It challenges us all to look beyond appearances and recognize the extraordinary potential within every individual. And in a world that often values loudness over substance, it encourages us to listen closely, because sometimes the quietest voices have the most profound things to say.